So I had to create the slides to convince realtors, number one, that there was this thing called the internet, that there was a piece of the internet called the World Wide Web, and that everybody was going to use it someday. And that we needed as realtors to start looking at this for advertising. So, of course, they turned to the only realtor on the team, which was me, and they said, Saul, you need to put something together because we need to socialize this idea. These are the original slides. If you don't like the color, that's the way it goes, because that's the way I built this thing. I wasn't as good on PowerPoint back then. And so the first thing I said is, what is internet advertising? I had to explain. People didn't know what it was. They didn't even know what the internet was. And here's what I said. It's an inexpensive new medium. I know you don't know what the internet is. I know you haven't heard of it. But let me tell you, it's an inexpensive new medium. And it is currently accessible by 20 million people. The population of the United States, what, 300 million? It exists now. It's already there. We're not talking about something that's out in the future. It exists now, and it is the wave of the future. This is what we said in 1995. And then we went on to say, in what form does it currently exist? Okay, it exists, but in what form? We said, well, and this was a concern. There are 4,000 real estate sites on the web. If you went to Yahoo and you did a search for real estate sites, you got 4,000. Now today you get a couple million. But back then we thought 4,000 sites, and each site had maybe one or two listings. And we thought, that's terrible. If you go to a site and you only see one or two listings as a consumer, you're not going to go back and you're going to say, no, I'm not going to go to the internet to look at real estate because there's only one or two listings. I got to go to 4,000 sites to find all these things. And so this was a problem, that we had listings spread out across many different websites. Each site had few listings. And here was an interesting point. While there were 4,000 websites that day we looked, just 9 months before that we had looked, and there were less than 200. So the websites had grown from 200 to 4,000 in 9 months. And so we were sure that this was going to continue to grow. And we had to make this point to realtors that you need to do something about this. You need to look at this internet. You need to figure out a way to advertising on the internet. Because if you don't, other people will. And so you're going to have people sponsoring websites, like newspapers are going to want, why? They want the listings. They want that content on their website. And national and regional brokers are going to put listings up on their website. And all this is going to do is make it worse because, again, we're going to have too many listings spread out on too many different websites. Now, remember, we didn't have Google back then. And we said this is going to happen. Non-traditional real estate organizations are going to get into putting listings on the internet. Non-traditional real estate organizations. Now, why should that be a concern to people? Why should I be concerned? Here's what we believe. Continued fragmentation will weaken one of our strongest assets, our inventory. This is what we said in 1995. We've got this, we're the only ones that has this great inventory. And if we let people just go out and they put it on the web, it's going to be all fragmented, and that will weaken what we believe is a positive asset we have, which are all of the listings in our multiple listing services. Continued fragmentation will allow non-traditional services to gain a foothold. So we said, if we just let this fragment the way it's fragmenting, these non-traditional, and I haven't named any non-traditional services yet, but these non-traditional services will gain a foothold. And then we said non-traditional services are not necessarily realtor friendly. And so if you don't want the non-traditional real estate services starting to control your business, you better control your listing inventory. Now, today, if I had to identify a non-traditional real estate service, let's say 5 years ago, if I had to identify a non-traditional real estate service, I would say Zillow. I would say Trulia. I would say any one of those portals that are not owned by realtors. Those are the non-traditional services. And we knew in 1995 that they are not necessarily realtor friendly, and that could cause problems for the real estate industry.